1 month ago, my website looked like this. And last week, it took me about 6 days to do the setup and research in order to get things supported by an AWS backend. And even then, the results were less than ideal. So now I'm at a crossroads with a big decision to make. Either I can continue braving through using AWS as someone who's never made a full stack application before, or I can make a change. Last week, I set up some basic functionality using AWS Amplify with some success. The issue, though, was at the very end of it, I was able to get file uploads to work when I set the rule to anybody could upload, but then when I set it to only authenticated users, it completely stopped working. Basically, it would only return a message saying access denied, even when the user was authenticated. So, because of that, I took that as a sign to just go ahead and try Firebase. In less than a day, I was able to get user authentication working, as well as file uploads, meaning in just about 5 hours, I was able to go from knowing nothing about Firebase to having more than what took me a week to figure out on Amplify. I'm definitely not saying Firebase is objectively better than AWS, since it seems like each is better for different use cases, but in this situation where I needed fast and easy deployment, it definitely took the win. I think the biggest thing that I was worried about was that it would end up costing me a decent sum of money to prototype everything, but Cloud Functions is extremely cheap. So most likely I'll be able to switch to the Blaze plan, set everything up, and it'll be incredibly low cost. Probably no more than $1, if even that, for testing purposes. The goal is to not put any effort into the design for right now, because it seems like we're gonna want to eventually switch over to using Tailwind instead of just making all of the design ourselves. For that reason, since we want to switch to Tailwind eventually, there's no real point in doing the design right now if I'm the only one that's going to look at it and it's only for testing. So the thing that I'm going to work on either today or tomorrow is I'm going to take a look at Cloud Functions and setting up the processing for text and whatnot. So that's what we're looking at. Alrighty, so where I'm currently at is I was able to get Cloud Functions to work. So now when a PDF gets uploaded, it then will automatically use a PDF parser and extract the information from it. So the next step that I have to get through is setting up a Postgres database so that I can store text embeddings there. The issue is Cloud SQL from Google is where I would set up the database, and it costs a good bit of money, which I don't really need right now. Another option is DigitalOcean, which is also costs a bit of money. That's what we're working with. Working for another few hours, I finally decided on using Pinecone as a vector database to store my text embeddings, which are vectors of numbers which represent text. In this case, I'm taking the text I extract from PDFs and storing their embeddings in Pinecone so that I can do a similarity search with LangChain. So right now, everything that I have working is user authentication all the way. So you can register as a user, you can log in as that account that you created. Then from there on the uploads page, only authenticated users can upload a file. Once a file gets uploaded, it'll automatically run a Cloud function that'll check if that file is a PDF. If it is a PDF, then it'll extract all of the text from that PDF, and then it's going to use an OpenAI embedding model to take all that text and turn it into vector embeddings, and then from there takes the vector embeddings and inserts them into a Pinecone database that I have set up. And I've been working for the past hour and a half, 2 hours, on getting LangChain to work and getting a query search, but I've been having a little bit of trouble. So I think that's going to be a problem for tomorrow, hopefully. Where things are at right now, I've spent a few hours working on trying to get LangChain to work. I think I made a mistake in how I'm inserting the text embeddings into Pinecone. So I'm gonna redo all of that. So basically redo everything that I've already done with the Pinecone stuff and then try again. But here's the thing, even if I can't get this to work by the end of the day, I've still done a lot, because in full fairness to me, I started the beginning of this week without anything set up in Firebase. And now I've gone from setting up, configuring Firebase, learning everything that I've learned about Firebase, and now having somewhat close to full functionality. Spending the entire day completely locked into getting queries to work, I ran through different tools, techniques, and so many errors. Until finally, it's late. It's about 1, and I spent most of the day focusing on this one thing. This is where I'm at the end of the day. So, Just for background on the setup of where we are on the website before I show you this, I've uploaded a cover letter that I wrote, and I'm gonna ask a question about the cover letter. I think of a good question. Let's see, what languages do they know? And there we go. He has an understanding and experience in Python, MongoDB, SQL, and all of that comes directly from the cover letter I uploaded. Now for reference, all of this was done in 1 week, in this week. And basically at this point I have full functionality because now I can take this same functionality and use that to generate flashcards pretty easily. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. See you next week.